Alright guys, welcome back ladies and gentlemen. Game number 3 is upon us. And you know what that means. The winner of this will remain undefeated. The loser will fall to 3-1 here in group, what is Group C? So, okay, we're joined by the commish. I'm Breaking CPK. And this is the DreamHoN Summer Championships. Game number 3 is upon us. Enough of that. Are you ready to cast? That's
I'm
what really
ready.
matters.
Let's do it.
Alright, the game has started. Both teams are actually at the blind band phase, so we're really just going to jump right into it here. No reason to wait any bit longer. Again, crazy game here between these two teams. What was just such a long first game, about 70 or 80 minutes even. I can't even remember. It was just an epic finish. FYKU, though, just lost it in the end. Vitriolic came through. And the game 2, completely different game. FYKU comes out strong, and they did not stop. It just was a steamroll there in game number 2. So, game number 3, very intrigued to see, especially how the picking phase goes now, Phil.
Yeah, it's going to be different. You know, you're coming out here. We're looking at the first blind bands coming out: Tempest and Monkey King from the Legion team, Hellborn banning Jerizai and Tundra. So it feels like there's been a lot of different bands throughout the blind banning stages, but Monkey King has been kind of like a staple member of that group.
Yeah.
So again, I'm not sure if it's just, you know, Legion detests Monkey King or Hellborn team has a Monkey King player, but.
Yeah.
You know, I guess we'll see what happens here. First locks, Pebbles and Glacius. Really, no surprise there, especially Pebbles being included in the in the lock pool. And we'll see if he becomes an effective member of this game as well. And then what the Hellborn team does to really counter that.
Yeah, just like the first game, Pebbles being locked right away this time by Vitriolic, and wouldn't be surprised again, just like the first game, to see it first picked as well. On top of that, so we'll see how Vitriolic decides to go about that. One quick note while we are waiting on some more picks here, I did actually get some updates on the other matches that were happening today here from Group C. TT Esports versus QWOP. Both those teams were 2-1 today. Going into the match, TT Esports won the series 2-0, though. Also, now they're 3-1. QWOP falls to 2-2. And we had Team GA actually lost to. Who were they playing? They were playing C1K, actually. I believe.
Yeah.
Call It Karma. Call It Karma won that. No, wait. Team GA won that series. Crap. Now I forget.
I can tell you.
Anyways, Phil's going to look for that real quickly. But then there was also Cats Gaming versus MUFC, as we talked about earlier. And MUFC won that series 2-0.
Looks like Call It Karma actually won.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so yeah, Call It Karma, they did beat Team GA. So both of the Russian teams losing today here. From Group C.
Kind of a rough start for our Russian.
They're
0-4
now. Yeah,
both teams are 0-4.
No, Cats is actually 1-3.
Cats is 1-3 because they beat GA.
They got their one in there.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. You know, definitely the Commonwealth, independent states. You know, their scene is continually growing. And you take a look at teams who are from around those regions. And they're definitely there's a good competitive scene there for those people. They have good tournaments that get run over there from Garena CIS. But I don't know what it is. There just seems to be something missing. I mean, the strategies are kind of off the wall when you look at them. Yeah. They run a lot of Chipper and stuff like that. Chipper's a fun hero. He's a great hero and can be effective. But during the current the way the metagame is right now, he doesn't really seem to fit in any of those roles. You can't really guarantee a one-on-one solo mid, and that's really where he excels. And we've even seen him get a little bit of a buff here recently with them lowering the mana cost on his rocket barrage. So it just doesn't seem to be enough to really get him involved, at least in the international competitive scene. So, too bad for those guys, but that's enough about their games. Let's get into this one as we are now getting into the picking phase. Yeah, and something noticing right off the bat here. First off, the lock pool, very interesting finish. I mean, it went from Pebbles to Glacius Shadowblade by FYKU, then back to Vitriolic with Cthulhu Fauna Luna, and then finishing it off with Artesia, actually, from FYKU. So I'm not too sure, on those locks there, but maybe they got either some Shadowblade or some Artesia strategies. We'll have to wait and see. The bands went through Ophelia, Warbeast, Silhouette, Fade, Magebane, Moraxis. But the thing with the bands that stands out to me is that
FYKU did not ban Nymphora. Instead, they banned Fade, Warbeast, and Moraxis, which you can argue is fine. I would say maybe instead of the Fade, you can go ahead and throw the Nymphora ban, but because they didn't do that, Vitriolic first picked Nymphora, and again, they're most likely going to first pick Pebbles from that locked pool. So you're already can expect to give them that combination now as a result of not banning one of those two heroes, where they Pebbles in the blind ban and then Nymphora in the regular ban. So we'll see if that comes back to haunt FYKU here.
Yeah, I guess I really don't fully understand why teams do not ban Nymphora when Pebbles is already locked, unless you have a good counter to it. And like I said, the counter to that has got to just be having a good dual ranged lane up against Pebbles and Nymphora and really harassing Pebbles and keeping him away from getting creep kills early on, keeping them out of experience range if possible, but usually they land in mid lane, so it's hard to stay out of experience, or hard to keep somebody out of experience range because you run up the hill, suddenly you're getting attacked by a tower or other creeps or heroes and stuff like that.
They might go Shadowblade here. Hold on, I'm sorry, but there's a chance they could go Shadowblade here. I would not be surprised if they go something like a Glacius Shadowblade to finish it off, or even a Luna Shadowblade. There's the Aluna. Come through for me!
Nope.
Damn it. I was hoping.
Sorry.
Luna Glacius. It's going to be good through the phone, by the way. Yep, shocker.
I did not see that coming. I didn't see the Cthulhu Font pick coming. So
Totally
I actually thought it might have been Shadowblade. I mean, Rise plays Shadowblade quite a bit, actually, in like matchmaking. So it wouldn't have surprised me to see him pick up Shadowblade either. But
I was looking at the lanes more so too. And
right.
It just made
right. I mean,
sense.
no, they got a good all-around lineup over in the Legion team. It's really, really strong. They're going to have that really annoying Nymphora Pebbles lane to deal with. But at the same time, I could definitely see like a Glacius Torture in the middle lane going up against that and being really, really effective. Now, we'll see exactly what happens here. Even like Glacius Aluna, which would be in a kind of an odd lane, could still be effective. Their lanes are what kind of gets me a little bit because it's not like they've got that super duper hard carry. They're running, that they have to babysit. They're running a jungle hero, so it's not like it's not like they're on a tri lane. So one of these lanes is going to be a little bit awkward. But again, having the ranged heroes up against Pebbles and Nymphora should allow them to at least harass Pebbles as long as they take the opportunities to. Every time Pebbles gets close to a creep, they both need to be auto-attacking him. They both need to be taking advantage of that.
I am also a little bit taken back by the Keeper of the Forest pick as well from FYKU. I say that because, again, that was our final pick in the regular picking phase. They had to safely assume that the Legion team was eventually going to get Cthulhu Font. And again, if they've done their research, which I would believe that this team definitely has, it seems like with these first couple of games and whatnot, they know Bryce not only loves to play Cthulhu Font, but especially in the jungle format, as he did in the second game even, and the jungle very roam aggressive. And, this brings up just like we saw last game with him against the Tempest. I mean, sure, it worked out in the end for FYKU, but more so for Keeper of the Forest compared to a Tempest, Keeper of the Forest really likes to stay in his own jungle and then push that top tower, that short lane tower, as soon as possible. Really, when he gets that Ring of Sorcery, he gets that level 6-7 mark, he sets up the gank initially, and then he goes to push a tower. Again, like we said before, it's just really rinse and repeat when it comes down to Keeper of the Forest and his type of strategy. So that's where, I'm a little bit concerned for Keeper of the Forest in terms of maximizing his farm here in the Hellborn jungle because of Cthulhu Font. And he's just constantly going to be harassing him, you got to figure, and it's going to be annoying for him to deal with. So that's where, again, for FYKU, again, I'm a little bit taken back by the Keeper of the Forest pickup, but we'll see how effective Xtab, who once again is playing the jungle role here for FYKU, how well he's able to do. As far as the other matchups, you did mention that Glacius Torture lane. It's not going to be Glacius Torture. Instead, it's going to be a solo Torture in mid here and a Glacius Aluna at top. But I got to think they're going to send Glacius here to the middle lane as soon as possible. I cannot see them sticking with this because I just don't see Aluna necessarily needing support against a solo Plague Rat. It just doesn't make sense. So we do see Glacius already roaming, though.
I agree. I mean, Glacius, it's nice for him to be there to help out a little bit. In fact, he's going to stack this early on, which is a little bit odd considering considering that that Keeper of the Forest is not like, oh, I'm going to right now easily burn through a bunch of stuff, but Cthulhu being harassed here by Glacius in their own jungle. So, I mean, I'm guessing Glacius is probably on guard duty here. He's probably doing guard duty for both the jungle and for Aluna, so he's just going to be kind of roaming around here a little bit. Obviously, it's going to hurt him as far as his overall experience gain in the early levels. But, you know, I mean, that's part of the hard support role. You kind of get used to that. So what we will be seeing, however, is an Aluna played in a carry-style fashion, and it feels like it's been so long since we've seen that. So expect, you know, I don't know what the exact build-up is going to be, but if we're going back old school, I mean, we'd be looking at something aiming towards picking up an early Hellflower into like a Frostwolf Skull. I mean, that was the old school build. We'll see if that is repeated here. But she is going to get some early levels, so that's definitely going to help out.
Normally I wouldn't say that, and even to be actually, by the way, in the middle lane, maybe a Bloodlust kill coming out. Torture misses that trample stun, though. Torture 5 right now, turns around chain reactions, pulls him in, going for the counter kill, and he'll get it, but it cost him his life. Ooh, that is so iffy right there. I mean, he did get the counter kill, but of course Shizzer, it came after he died, so Big Bad Bryce got the experience, got the bonus goal for that from the Bloodlust. Very interesting. I wonder, that is so close to saying whether or not that really was worth it for Torch right there, because I believe he would have survived if he kept running. Maybe not. I mean, maybe Pebbles would have been able to check him and kill him, so I don't know. That was so close there, but crazy, crazy middle action happening. Going back real quickly to Aluna, though, as you're mentioning, normally I would be along the lines of saying we'll probably see him build into an Astrolabe, a Tablet of Command, more that style. As, by the way, Bubbles at the bottom lane. Is you're going to say dive here from Wretched Agony? Yes, we know we are. She blinked away, so... anyways, but this game, look at the lineup. They really don't have that carry hero, so I think, yeah, we very likely could see more of a Hellflower style build here early on from Aluna, being a lot more aggressive as a result of that. But anyways, we're getting a lot of action already picking up here. I am intrigued by this middle lane and how FYKU isn't really adjusting to it, although...
And I know that, like, people who are watching this and you are going to be like, of course you don't like it, but I really don't like this. It's the fact that not only missed stun there by Pebbles, but in comes Cthulhu from behind, and Torture is going to fall here. I don't know why he decided to try to stay and man up against that Pebbles. I mean, even just falling back closer to the tower. But really, like, Pebbles doesn't even have a shield.
Yeah. So
that damage would have been completely unmitigated. I mean, you know, like, he doesn't really have any armor, doesn't have a shield or an iron buckler. So all they, like, if they would have had two range heroes here, they could have just really wailed on Pebbles really hard, dropped him extremely low, and like combining somebody like Torture and Glacius together could be extremely effective.
Yeah. Now, I will say, because of what they're doing, look at Luna's farm compared to Plague Rider especially. I mean, she is having a fantastic game. She's 22-13 against a 4-6 Plague Rider. She's a one level advantage on top of that. She's farming 290 gold per minute right now, which is just behind that Pebbles here in the middle lane. So it really comes down to that trade-off. I mean, again, it goes back to, though, Aluna would still have a good time against Plague Rider. It's not like she'd be struggling in a 1-versus-1 matchup by any means.
Right.
So you could argue that sending that Glacius to them mid and at least trying to lock down that Best that's here on Pebbles a little bit more, if not even getting more farm of Torture, could be the more beneficial thing here. But again, they're sticking to the guns of what they started off with, and so that's really, you know, what's going to have to work for them when it's all said and done, and as far as being victorious with it. Now, Keeper of the Force, he's adjusted to the Legion jungle, actually. He's tired of dealing with that Cthulhu Fun, as it kind of expected. I mean, it's just so annoying with that hook him being leveled up from the beginning here for Cthulhu Font. So, decided to go to the Legion Jungle. Going to try to pick up some farm up there. Speaking of Cthulhu Font, you see at the top lane, he's looking to set up a gank with Nymphora. Now, if Aluna gets close enough, eating through the trees right here, trying to get enough of a path to actually maybe get the... Luna pushing up way too far. Now, in comes the trample attempt. You see Deja Vu going to be a nice port right there. Is it going to be enough? Now, the stun did happen, as well as the Ice Imprisonment, but it just happened a little bit too late. The trample already went off, and down goes Luna. Glacius actually going to fall here as well, and it ends up being a double tap for Zepro right there, playing the Plague Rider. So, forget all that Aluna dominating Plague Rider sense. With that double tap, I mean, he just came right back into the lane now.
Yeah, I mean, this is now basically the third game in a row where Zepro has had a very, very great early game. Now, he did not obviously do as well as he did as Bubbles on Plague Rider here up against this Aluna. But again, that's to be expected. You know, you're constantly concerned about maybe Keeper of the Forest coming out. I mean, obviously, like, he's not the best ganker hero, especially when you consider, you know, before level 4 or before level 6. I mean, but you also have Glacius constantly roaming around and providing a little bit of the psychological effect, and he still hung in there, picked up a couple kills right there, and now he's over 200 gold per minute. Meanwhile, you had this Glacius sitting at 54 GPM right now, and only level 3, so he really has not played any kind of role whatsoever. And I don't know, it's really weird. Wow, Pebble's going to get caught out here by Keeper of the Forest. Will it be enough to keep him alive? He's able to pick up a bottle, and now going to start using regen with a bottle. In comes Bubbles, and he's actually going to use the ultimate right there. So a little bit odd, and it's going to be basically a 1-for-1. But I don't think Torturer had to die there.
Oh, that was very unnecessary. Yeah, I'm not sure. Bubbles, he could have easily shell surfed Song and Sea combo, but it's a 100% kill there onto Pebbles. But for some reason, he thought the kill field made sense there. It didn't whatsoever. I mean, that was a very odd decision coming out from Guifix again. It's the ringer this series here for FYKU. So really unfortunate that you're right. I don't think Torturer had to die either, and very likely wouldn't have if maybe he went with the shell surf Song of the Sea. But anyways.
Wretched Hag did use the Bat Blast to get the kill.
Yeah.
But it's just again, like Bubbles could have been so much more responsive to begin with. He could have been moving earlier. They had to be talking like, oh, get him, he's by the bottom rune. And still, he just kind of sat there and farming, and then he just chose not to try and end things with the Shell Surf and Song of the Sea, as you mentioned before. So yeah, it's just odd to me.
Yes. Vitriolic, though, again, now this, unlike the first two games. We're getting a very close game. The game went on such a long game. Ended up being a win for Vitriolic. Second game, a stomp for FYKU. This time around, Vitriolic definitely having the better start here. And FYKU, again, unlike the last two games, they don't have that hero to really rely on that at least is getting farmed like they did with Mage Bane the first game and Silhouette the last game. They have an Aluna nowhere comparable to those two as far as just being that scary hard carry potential if they even choose to build it that way. So this is a really, really worst-case scenario here for FYKU in terms of the start. As far as Vitriolic is concerned, they're obviously having a great time. Now, to their credit, I mean, Vitriolic doesn't really have that hard carry either. They do got a Hag who can definitely perform mid to late game, as well as even a Pebbles to an extent. But so overall, I mean, this really is just much more of a mid-game game here, I guess.
Yeah, the problem is honestly, like with Pebbles getting the great farm that he's getting. At least now, and Nymphora is going to hit level 6 here soon. We talk about mid-game heroes, Wretched Hag, Pebbles, Nymphora, that combination, and Plague Rider. Those are like mid-game dominating heroes. It's not just like, oh, the Hellborn team, they have good mid-game heroes as well, but it's nowhere near on the scale of what the Legion team has, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you can argue that. So. But again, it's definitely the better starter for the Legion team so far. But Keeper of the Forest coming in. He's level 7. Got that root to go. But the Plague is coming off. That's going to do a lot of damage, actually. It bounces back, so the root comes down right there. Plague Rider will fall. And Cthulhu also going to drop right here, it looks like, in the end. Oh, but then comes Wretched Hag. The Plague did enough damage for Wretched Hag to come in and clean up. Gets the double tap for Dark Wanix. You see Keeper of the Forest going to be able to sneak out of there with the Nature's Veil. But that was great Plague there from Plague Rider. Again, from ZetPro playing that Plague Rider. And set up what eventually was a double tap for Wretched Hag to come in and clean up. So, good idea there from FYKU, no doubt. But unfortunately for them, the timing just was not perfect. And the Legion team was able to react enough to really make an even exchange, if not a 1-5 for the Legion team. And in fact, now Dark Wanix is going to continue to push the top lane right here.
And I mean, he still has the Bat Blast available to him as well, so it wasn't even needed in that last team fight. But he played it very smart. You came in, used the Bat Blast, got the last auto attack off, used Haunt immediately on Glacius to be able to get the Glacius to be able to get the kill on him, and they continued to move forward looking for Keeper of the Forest. Now, unfortunately, wasn't able to pick up the kill, but still, you could see that the presence of mind was there for him to continue to try and at least search for a way to maximize his presence in that team fight. And because of that, he's now the top farmer in the game at 298 gold per minute, so almost 300 gold per minute for him. Yeah. And actually, Pebbles just passed him up there, so they're going back and forth between those two. But just looking at the overall farm, you got 4 heroes above 200 gold per minute, and only 3 over on the Legion team, only 3 on the Hellborn team, and only 1 close to 300 gold per minute on the Hellborn, as opposed to 3 very close to it on the Legion team. So, it's just one of those things. Got to keep that in mind. Keeper of the Forest team really needs to be. I feel like I said this all the time about pushing, but Keeper of the Forest is a pushing hero. You know what I mean? That's That's what he needs to be doing. He needs to be pushing.
Yeah, that's definitely what I was going to bring up too as well. I mean, his GPM pretty impressive, but again, that's without any tower kills. So we'd hope that, you know, now, but that also does go back to what I said at the very beginning of this game, how this is not your normal Keep the Force game because of that Cthulhu main lane. Speaking of Cthulhu, once again, actually know this is Pebbles up here being ported by Nymphora, so she's level 6. You got Pebbles, no portal key. But he does have an invincibility rune and going to try to set up something right here. You got a Luna and Glacius. Need to be very careful. Need to play very defensive. You do have a Keeper of the Force who's over at the yellow camp, though. But there we go. 2 tower kills happening for the Legion team in just these last 30 seconds or so. So all of a sudden, a 6,100 goalie coming out. Oh, here we go with the flank from Nymphora. The seals are going to be his nice deja vu, though, from Luna. And she is going to be able to get away. But there's the poor man's portal key being used on the Plague Gunner. Going to pick up the kill eventually. No, Glacius survives. In comes a River and Keeper of the Force. Again, the Plague Gun comes off. And that is going to do a lot of damage in the background. Bubbles and Torture taking a lot, but they both somehow stay alive. Nice trample from Cut to the Fonto. The Obliterate's activated, and it gets the 1 kill. Big fat prize. Looking for more. Not going to happen, though. Stalagmite's going to be used by Pebbles. Catches Keeper of the Force. Chucks his mind in the air for the poor man's portal key. But nice power throw. Takes out Pebbles, and down goes Cthulhu Font. So in the end, we have FYKU actually coming out on top, but it ain't over just yet. Bat Blast coming out from Wretched Hag. One brown attack, nice dodge of the chain reactions, but the Infiz at the last second made it miss. There we go with the deny as well to make sure no credit for Wretched Hag as the haunt was on him. So again, very good timing right there, and wow, that fight just would not end, it seemed like.
Yeah, that was very, very well played by FYKU. They did exactly what they needed to do. Glacius was able to keep himself barely alive somehow. That power supply played a huge role, or I'm sorry, the mana battery played a huge role in that. But then Keeper of the Forest came in, used the ultimate. They were able to turn it all around. Plague Rider got a really good ultimate off, and I actually thought that it was going to kill both Bubbles and
just
Torture.
Stopped bouncing at the last
but it just
second.
Stopped bouncing there, and they were able to both survive. Unfortunately, Torture did go down, but at least he was denied. So, you know, overall, a really good team by FYKU. And just when you think that, oh my God, like Vitriolic is completely dominating this game, they do something like that. They make a little bit of a mistake, and FYKU capitalizes. Now it's 98 hero kills, and the experience has swung back in favor of FYKU. They now have a 2,400 experience lead.
But again, we are now going to see a 3rd tower kill coming out for Vitriolic, and you compare their team to that of the Hellborn side, that should not be happening. FYKU has by far
It's not that they shouldn't be killing towers. It's that the Hellborn team should also be killing towers.
Yeah, exactly. Well, again, that's my point. The fact that they're up 3-0 in tower kills is just that shouldn't happen. So all 3 games, you're right. I mean, that kind of has proved to be an issue here for FYKU. It's just not in their playstyle, apparently, to counter push, let alone really aggressively pushing towers. Now, Plague Rider is going to get caught here by chain reaction. We do see kill the bottom lane happening as well onto a Luna. In comes Stalagmites, though, and that is going to be enough to at least save Plague Rider for now. Double damage response. Kelto catches Plague Rider, actually, and the chain reactions will help finish him off right there. Actually, the Song of the Sea. Nope, chain reactions take the kill, so Torture will pick it up right there. Double damage was picked up by Pebbles, though, in the midst of all that, so he actually got something out of it. But still, a good kill happening for FYKU. But like I said, Luna went down, and some more aggression coming out here now from Vitriolic as Nymphora, Cthulhu Font, and Wretched Hag. But they're going to continue to push this bottom lane here, so.
Yeah, well, you know, Torture not having quite the game that he had last time, but still not doing too poorly. He's 3-4-4. Obviously, the 4 deaths he really needed to minimize on. Playing against that lane in the middle lane definitely did not help out at all. But, you know, he's hanging over 200 gold per minute at least. And once they start picking up some of these tower kills, we can look for this Hellborn team to at least recover, you know, a little bit, if not actually quite a bit. They're, in fact, right now with 4,500 gold lead, the Legion team is up exactly 3 tower kills.
Yeah.
So if they were to come in and perhaps put a little more pressure on these towers, they could definitely come back and get on even ground as far as the gold lead. Now, they do continue to have that experience lead, however, and it is continue to grow, almost 3,000 now from 2,400 the last time we talked about it. So that is at least a shining light as far as their team is concerned. Keeper of the Forest, he continues to do very, very well. 350 gold per minute himself. 4-0-3, and Aluna is kind of doing her thing. She had a really good start, but ended up tapering off a little bit due to some team fights and her getting picked off a few times. So really, the Hellborn teams are still very, very much in this. We just need to see a few more good team fights like they had the last time around.
Going on, you mentioned the experience there, and I think that's a very deceiving stat because, again, that goes back to Vitriolic. They've been grouping up and pushing towers, and obviously what the negative side of that is that you won't get nearly as much experience, and because FYKU has been spread out so much as farming, they have got more experience. So it's one of those cases like, okay, they have a lead of something, but it really is that the greatest thing to be happening. So they are going to try to maybe get some. They were trying to catch. That was Pebbles actually doing the Ancients right there, but he gets away and he just purchases portal key actually. So now a 16-minute portal key going to be picked up by Pebbles here, and he is now having a fantastic game, or he really has had a great game, but that is going to be scary for the Hellborn team because other than Keeper of the Forest, I mean, very, very squishy team over here on the Hellborn side. So they are trying to apply a little bit of pressure, but meanwhile, on the bottom lane, a lot of points coming in. Great kill, Phil Lemming. Again, the Plague used very early, though. No bounce is happening, and that's going to be huge right there. Plague Hunter and Wretched Hag will both die. Nymphora just poured in with Pebbles, though, looking for some counter kills, and they're going to at least get one in the bubbles. Torture somehow stays alive as Keeper of the Forest and Aluna are going to keep them chased as Grayson the Nymph used right there for a speed burst. It looks like Nymphora just going to be a little bit too far unless Aluna gets a stun up. There's a red sun, very smart choice. It's going to set up a Torture chain reactions, and the power throw on top from Shizor, or excuse me, from Aluna. Help got the kill, but Shizor actually got credit for the kill. So I like the idea there from the Legion team. Nymphora ported with Pebbles, got the one counter kill, but also ended up in a death for Nymphora as well. So yeah, some interesting decisions being made there from our Legion team, actually.
That was really, really, really well played. Everything from the beginning, with Bubbles porting in first, able to get in there, immediately using the kelp field, allowed for the rest of the team to port in. And what the most beneficial thing of that, in my opinion, was the fact that they were able to take out Wretched Hag. In fact, a little more action at the bottom lane. Pebbles porting back in, but was unable to secure the kill on Aluna. Aluna running back. Meanwhile, Keeper of the Forest, I mean, he's invisible right now.
How did they not buy Duster revs?
They have revs on Nymphora right now. They have revs on Nymphora right now. But they're still like they're circling around the same area that she was in before. So yeah.
No, my point was though the people that were initially pointing right there, that if one of them bought a rev or even a dust right there, they could have very likely got 2 kills because you're going up against a Keeper of the Forest, and Pebbles was sitting there waiting for a portal key jump, so it was obviously they were going to jump Aluna, but of course, this Keeper of the Forest right there, he's just like, invis, and they had nothing. Nymphora came in way later. By the time she was there, it just wasn't going to be nearly in time. Now, in the middle lane, we see Cthulhu trying to chase this Aluna, but Aluna actually going to deja vu back into Pebbles. I do not know about that decision right there, but a dead big team fight coming off, actually. Torture in the midst of it all. You see Plague on a no Plague Goo up, just going to put in the auto attacks. Bat Blast even used. The Glacial Downpour happening, though. Finally, the root comes out from Keeper of the Forest, trying to maybe get a kill on Wretched Hag right here. Wretched Hag, well, yes, he is going to fall as Torture just barely enough damage. Nice red Aluna stun. The power throw on top. Plague on a fall. Bubbles joins the party. Down goes Cthulhu, and Pebbles now may very likely fall. We're going to see a genocide here from our Hellborn team. There we go. As the final auto attack from Aluna. So, holy crap. Talk about coming back. FYKU, man. They are coming back in this game just like they did the first game.
How deceiving is an 8,000 experience lead? It's a question.
Okay, now that's a little bit better.
No, I'm just kidding. And they were also able to make up the gold difference before even taking that tower out. So now they've actually swung up 800 gold in their favor. So, they take out that middle tower, and really, that was just a 100% success team fight, obviously. You know what I mean? They obviously got a genocide, and I think they only lost 1 hero. Or did they lose any heroes at all?
They lost, I believe, at least 1.
I think they lost Glacius, but I think that was about it. But, I mean, that was a great team fight, and that's exactly what we're talking about with Vitriolic. They are not a perfect team. They make mistakes, and FYKU has done a really great job this game on capitalizing on those mistakes. So while we talked about how neither team really has that hard carry. Nobody's got like a Dark Lady, nobody's got a Silhouette, nobody's got a Forsaken Archer or anything like that. But both teams are relatively even down the board, and Torture against Wretched Hag late in the game is a pretty good matchup, and Bubbles against Wretched Hag is a pretty good matchup, and Aluna, she's probably got the most carry potential of any of the heroes in the game.
Yeah, you can argue that.
I mean, I would make that argument. Wretched Hag can get really super farm, have high mobility, but the fact that Aluna has the ability to maximize her attack speed makes her very, very effective as well.
See, with that said, though, I don't think this is going to be a game that ultimately will come down to who's going to out-carry.
I don't think so either. I think it's going to be like a big team fight, and then somebody pushes too hard, and that's it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
This is definitely going to be more of just a team versus team game. We don't have that mage being that dark leader, that silhouette for Forsaken Archer.
And there's a lot more AoE over on the Hellborn side, which typically when you talk about early mid-game team fights, AoE is really, really dominant.
Yeah, there is a good amount on the Legion team, not to take away from that, but you are right. It's probably just a little bit more over there. Something else I don't know about you, man, but Xtab, he has been so impressive this whole series here for FYK. I mean, remember, he was the Ophelia the first game. Awesome start all throughout that game. You know, again, questionable. But that's the thing. Tempest the second game, fantastic. Keeper the Force this game, fantastic. Now, the one downside, as we keep critiquing, is where is the pushing? All three of those games, you know, he's kind of the lead pusher. Not really happening. So, other than that, though, he has just had a phenomenal series here for FYKU. So, big shout out to him. He's 5-0-9 this game, but I think those Nature Veils this game, the great keeper ults, they've just been very, very effective for his team. I mean, you see the farm that he has. He already has a barrier idol, by the way. We haven't really been stressing items too much this game, but a barrier idol picked up on Keeper the Forest. He has another 1,600 gold saved up. He's farming 375 gold per minute. Torture is working what I'm guessing to be a Shrunken Head and actually getting very close, a matter of 600 or so gold for that. You got Portal Key probably going to be purchased here by Bubbles as he's walking back to base right now. And then Aluna, you know, she's got what I'm guessing to be the makings of a Tablet of Command, actually. So going to that question we had earlier, speaking of Tablet, Bubbles also goes for a tab, and I do wonder a little bit about that. I think that Portal Key initiation could be very strong here for the Hellborn team. But choosing to go to the tablet instead, now obviously that does have its benefits against an aura, you could say, from Cthulhu Font, slowing everyone down massively, and maybe that FYKU bouncing around to get better positioning away from that, but I don't know. I think a Portal Key would have been good, but as well, you know, obviously the tablet of command does bring a lot of stats to the table as well, so.
Yeah, it's overall just it's a really solid item for any support, secondary support, or even initiator, as we've seen many times with Tempest. Now, obviously, Bubble's not quite on the level of Tempest as far as like AoE initiation and stuff like that, but he is still a very, very solid hero. And you're right, the tablet command it's just gonna be used in so many great ways. That's the best thing about it, is that it's not a one-dimensional item. It allows you to be really creative with it. And whether it be, you know, helping to escape from a spell or unlocking somebody who's stuck in a, or you know, tabling yourself over a, you know, over a ledge to escape death, like it's really just a great item to have. So, nice tower kill coming out of the top lane for Xtab. He's been doing a great job.
He has a Portal Key now, by the way, too.
And yeah, so that's gonna make that. And then Shrunken Head actually just finished on Torture. So, you know, the AoE here for this Hellborn team is continuing to get stronger and stronger.
Yeah. And you know what? This is a time. I know we keep stressing it, beating a dead horse here, but
did you notice the barrier idol pickup on?
Yeah, he's had that. Yeah, he had that before.
Okay,
yeah, he's had that for a little bit.
I just realized, because like how effective it's going to be, especially against this Hellborn team, picking it up that early against Plague Rider, against Wretched Hag. I mean, those are both
definitely insane amount of magic damage overall in this game in both teams. Just so much. So yeah, barrier idols, your Shrunken Heads, those are going to be huge, of course. And here's the interesting pickup, but again, it's one of those cases, interesting but not too shocking because it is Bryce. He does go in Sanitarius on Cthulhu Fun. And actually, we had him on last time when Vitriolic defeated MUFC, I believe it was. We actually had him on the post-game, and he did the same thing. He went in Sanitarius, and he's done it before.
Oh, Wretched Hag, you're in a lot of trouble.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they catch him. Now, what do they use? Did they even really use ultimates? No, other than Glacial Downpour,
no.
Wow, that's big, and they're also going to push the tower here. So, look at this. Big team fight coming in for or team presence here coming in from FYKU. They get the bottom tower as well as a hero kill, and they better keep this going as they are. I mean, Wretched Hag does not have a buyback, or she can at least with her gold amount. She's going to be down for another 30 seconds here, so just pay attention to that. Keep this push going. And honestly, I don't know if our Legion team is even going to attempt to defend this. I
don't think they could if they wanted to.
Yeah, do they even have a vulnerability? Was that used on last year? I wasn't paying attention. I mean, they do have a vulnerability, but there's that barrier idol. Look at that. Everyone just getting that magic armory right there, or is at least the buff from it. And this tower, yeah, it's going to drop. So like you said, they're not going to be able to stop this. There's just no point in even trying. So 2 tower kills coming right there as a result of that Wretched Hag gank at the bottom lane. So very well played here by FYKU.
Yeah, I mean, the Wretched Hag, there's got a lot riding on her right now. Dark Wanix had done a really good job early on in the game. In fact, he started off 3-0, and now he's 3-3-4. So the Hellborn team's been doing a really nice job of getting into position, able to really catch her out of position. And a lot of that is, honestly, because this Bubbles has been doing a really, really nice job of setting up into position, getting the Song of the Sea off, and then having Glacius come in and follow it up with the Ice Imprisonment. And then everybody else just follows around. So if you want to talk about a team that, definitely is CC heavy, this Hellborn team is extremely CC heavy. They've got a lot of stuns, a lot of ability to keep you from doing what you want to do. And a hero like Wretched Hag, who really relies on that mobility, is definitely going to be affected by it.
Yeah, and this is going to be huge for FYKU Curity right here. They're going to get Kongor, and I don't think Vitriolic even knows. They got zero vision around Kongor. This is happening, and they're not going to be able to stop this. So we're going to see a Token of Life. Now the question is, who are they going to give the Token of Life to? I'm actually a little bit curious about that. I would think Torturer would be probably your best bet here. Definitely not Keeper of the Forest. He is up in front, though. I wonder. Yeah, it looks like it is going to be Torture, though. Okay, so that makes sense. So Torturer picks it up here for a Hellborn team. Obviously, they get the bonus gold per minute, anything. So, again, you pull up the gold per minute chart. It's just looking so impressive right here for FYKU. Now, for Vitriolic, they too look impressive. And actually, back to the Sanitarius, as I was talking about, he made the point that he just honestly likes to be able to be that damage-dealing threat, that single target damage-dealing threat. He feels like, once he's used that Obliterate and the Trample, he loses a lot of his presence as Cthulhuphon. You could argue that that's right, obviously. So, he thinks getting an item like Sanitarius, and as he's shown in the past, it definitely works, where he's doing a lot of damage on top of his Trample and on top of his Obliterate. So kind of the logic there is why Bryce specifically.
And not to mention, defensively, it's an excellent tool to have at your disposal. Sure. Being able to immediately grant you plus 400 HP can be the difference between life and death many times. So, but yeah, we're going to see another push here in the middle lane. Again, really, Cthulhuphon is at the bottom lane and doesn't look like he's making any attempt to come back up here. TP heading out from Torture. He's going to head to the top lane to clean a little bit of this creepage out. And then, really, I mean, the Hellborn team is in a really great spot right now.
Yeah, that barrier auto, I think, is so intimidating to Vitriolic as well. You just see all the minions that get buffed by all the heroes whenever he uses it. That's 400, it's what, 400 magic damage.
Yeah, absorption.
Magic damage absorption that they have to deal with, and yeah, you stressed again how big that important that item was against this Legion team. So fantastic that Xtab was able to get that as soon as he did, and no doubt that's been a big reason for their success. So our Legion side, I mean, they're losing ground here. So for the first time in the series, it seems like FYKU finally coming through, of grouping up and pushing in these towers very effectively. They now have, what is that? That's 5 tower kills that they've taken out. The only outer tower remaining, the one up here, of course, up top in that secondary. And lo and behold, they're going up top. We're looking to push that one now. So they're just keeping the pressure up at all 3 lanes. Now look at the bottom lane. There's a creep wave pushing up here in favor of the Legion side. So you need to be a little bit careful about that if you're FYKU. But really, with the massive push that they have coming up top,
it would take a much larger creep wave than that to be able to break into the base.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, the defensive tower might take a little bit of damage, but it would just take a lot more for it to be really extremely effective. So they're not too concerned about that, and they really shouldn't be.
Yeah.
They're going to go ahead and group up again. There will be no defense from
all outer
Legion
towers
team.
are like, you can go ahead and have those.
So go ahead and take those. Just don't push our other towers. One of the things I want to mention also is, we stressed how annoying the Nymphora Pebbles pickup has been, but you look at not only the lack of maneuverability that those 2 heroes have had throughout the thing, but look at the ward placing. It's been so defensive.
Yeah.
And with that being said, that's really deteriorating the power of that combination. And, well, it looks like I might see a big team fight here at the bottom, so I'll let you take it.
Yeah, you make a very good point right there, but we do have some possible initiation taking place. Plague in the front lines. Plague is level 11, so we do have that level 2 Plague that can be used by him. You see a Wretched Deck in the front lines, who also has her Nullstone she recently picked up. But our Hellborn team playing very passive, and you can definitely appreciate this. Not really rushing into it, getting some more minion spawn from Keeper of the Forest, and maybe wait for another barrier idle use even, which has 30 seconds. But the tower falls right there. It is denied, but it's one of those cases. It's like, okay, you can have that deny. We really don't care. Your barracks are now completely exposed because of that. So I wouldn't be surprised if actually they wait for another barrier idle, the next creep wave, which is about 15 seconds remaining.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then Keeper of the Forest is going to be able to use that, and then we're going to go right back, and then maybe they'll look to go in now again, especially with that tower being dead. So remember, Keeper of the Forest also has level 3 root now with that portal key, so that could also be huge. There's the barrier idle use. Will he find an opportunity to get a great root off right here? You see the Legion team spreading out completely. That's fantastic by Vitriolic. but as they need to. But here we go. Pebbles jumps in onto Luna. That's going to be the focus fire. In comes that Bad Blast as well. There's the Root for giving. Oh, no Root just yet. Finally, the Root coming out. Torture doing everything that he can. He will get taken out, but of course, he has a token of life. Going to come right back up. Cthulhu fucking end up dropping right here. And Torture rejoins that party. Glacius picked off, but Keeper of the Forest, Torturer, and Bubbles on the front lines doing damage right here. And then 4 goes down. Keeper of the Forest picks in a great block on the Pebbles right there. And Pebbles very likely going to fall as a result of that. What a hero block from Xtab. Playing the MVP status this series for FYKU. Plague Rider also going to go down. And you see Torture somehow staying alive with that shrunken head. Is it going to last long enough? No, it's not. So I think Sanitarius and Cthulhu doing work right here. Nice Bubbles poured out by Wretchedak right on his tail, unfortunately. The Talbot over the ledge. Is it going to be enough for the port out? Yes, it is. Bubbles will get away. Fantastic escape. And now Keeper of the Forest also going to walk away and should be fine. So now they didn't get any really damage on the racks right here. So honestly, that worked out very well for Vitriolic. They did use 2 buybacks, though.
Right.
As did a Luna buyback as well. It's worthy noting.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's important. I think it's really important to note that, you know, there was a buyback from Brized on that Cthulhu font. So, you know, despite him catching back up in farm, which really no surprise to anybody who's ever watched Brized play, no matter how bad he starts, he seems to always find his way back to 300 plus gold per minute. Yeah. Especially on these heroes like War Beast and Cthulhu font. But yeah, I mean, that you know, those are the types of things where he has to use a buyback before the 30-minute mark in the game to defend the top racks. I mean, he should have used it, and he did. But as you go later on in the game, the push potential this Hellborn team has does not deteriorate. Yeah. They're going to continue to be very effective at pushing, and as long as that is the case, those buybacks are really, really valuable.
Yeah, very, very true. So, and I also like, again, before that fight, the point you were bringing up again about Nymphoria and Pebbles, where have they been? You're right. They just have not been. They've had very, very little presence this game. I mean, when he got that portal key right away and Nymphoria was level 6, I mean, we did see it maybe once or twice right off the bat, but a lot of that does have to do with FYKU, both the very defensive warriors, as you were pointing out for Vitriolic, but also FYKU just completely sticking together as a team from then on out. They've been all together, so that combination completely loses a lot of its potential if that's going to be the case for the opposition, which has been the case. So, yeah, that's definitely been huge here for FYKU, the fact that they haven't really had to deal with that combination despite letting them get it in the picking phase. Keeper of the Force, he's actually very close to finishing a Frostfield play here. So again, he is becoming quite the force here for the Hellborn side. Now, I will say, you know, again, the single target damage, the who's going to be that right-click auto-attacker, obviously they don't really have that just then. It makes me wonder, you know, when is a Luna or maybe even Torture, or hell, even Keeper of the Forest, if that's where he wants to go from here on out. And maybe that could be the big difference maker here in favor of Vitriolic, but that team firepower is just so strong. And they're going to reset things. They're going to come back in now. Of course, all cooldowns are up, so I believe at least. Yeah, it looks like every single really crucial cooldown at least is up right now. So our Hellborn team, obviously they know the racks are exposed. Well, this time, will they be able to break through? They do got their Frostfield plate now, as well as
they're just in such a great position right now, the Hellborn team. I mean, they're in such a great position. There's not a whole lot that the Legion can do. Like, honestly, I think now that the barrel has been used, you know what I mean? Like, they're looking at us like, well, yeah. What are we going to do here? But they really need to take the fight to this Hellborn team. So we're going to see what happens as Torture just absolutely melts right there. Wow. And a lot more damage coming out of that Plague Rider. Ultimate bouncing around. You see the Glacial Downpour also going off. Nobody dropping just yet after that Nymphoria dropped. But Glacius will eventually fall. And this Hellborn team, they're going to try their hardest to back off. But it is not going to be successful. Bubbles, he's going to go down. And Keeper of the Forest is taking a little bit extra damage. He's now invisible. But Aluna not going to be as lucky as that Keeper was, and that's going to be a really nice team fight there. And so just like that, we talked about the experience lead, the goal lead the Hellborn team had completely erased right there. So, and that's the thing is that this Hellborn team, they got great push potential, but it's always going to be difficult to push into the base until you get like a good pick off. So I think at this point, FYKU's strategy has got to be we need to get a hero pick, and then we need to push the base. Yeah, two big things to note in that last team fight, both focusing on Torture. One, Vitriolic
obviously a very smart team and very smart choice right there, as we saw. They focused Torturer, knowing that he really is the scariest hero here on the Hellborn team. He's the big damage dealer. He will activate that ultimate, he'll do his agonizing bonds, his chain reactions, and he'll just be dishing out so much damage, especially in those clumps. So very smart choice. But two, we saw Shrunken Head, as great of an item as it is, if you have no time to use it, it doesn't do anything for you. And that was a perfect example right there in that fight. He had 0 time to use it. I'm sure he was spamming it, but he just got completely locked down, and there was nothing that FYKU could really do to stop that. So the two big things to take from that last fight. And, you know, it does, as I just said, even going into that, where I'm a little bit worried on the overall damage potential of FYKU. I mean, sure, if they put it all together and if Torture stays alive, then by all means they can win these fights, as they really should be, but Aluna, because she went for more of a support style, not going for that really carry, hard-hitting style, you know, they aren't getting a maximized damage from her by any means. Bubbles only does so much. Obviously, Glacius, nothing from him. And Keeper of the Forest, again, if he goes for that build, he could definitely be a really heavy hitter, but he isn't. I mean, that's not a problem by any means, but it may start adding up here for the Hellborn side. So, and then you got Cthulhu Fun, who actually just picked up a Shrunken Head here. To go with his Insanitarius and Helm of the Black Legion, actually. So now he's going to be the big golden elephant in the midst of those fights as well.
Yeah, 3 heroes with Shrunken Heads over there on the Legion team.
Yeah, again, that's expected. Mystic Vestments as well, I'm sure, as I'm looking. Yeah, you got 1 on Wretched Hag and 1 on Plague Hunter. That's it, actually. Wow. Would have been surprised at that. Not even Cthulhu Fun having one, but...
well, he's got to keep that hatch damage. You never know when you're going to need to kill a creep
to set yourself up, yeah. You never know, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the match. While I felt like it was in a really good position for FY, whatever the heck their name is, FYKU, FAQ Curdy.
FAQ Curdy.
That's such a weird name.
It is.
I'm gonna get these guys sponsored.
I thought they had a guy named Curdy on their team.
I'm gonna get these guys sponsored. That way, I don't have to say FYKU anymore. But it's. Like I said, it felt really good for them. I felt like we were really, looking at being in their favor, and they just completely turned that team fight, around. And overall, wow, Plague Rider, 2,500 gold saved up. Pebbles, 4,000 gold almost. Over 2,000 with Cthulhu Font and Wretched Hag. There's just so much gold being pulled up here on the Legion team. Meanwhile, the Hellborn team, you had 3 heroes that had Blessed Orbs. Bubbles finally turned his into a Sheep Stick, but then you got both Aluna and Torture also with Blessed Orbs. So we'll see what those turn into as well. I actually wouldn't be surprised to see 2 more Sheep Sticks, to be quite honest. I mean, you talked about, like, the Shrunken Head. If you can't get it off, it doesn't really do anything for you. That's a perfect tool to use to keep people from getting that Shrunken Head off. So we'll see exactly what happens as we continue. I do, however, think that I would like to see perhaps a portal key on Torture. I think that they need some sort of additional follow-up besides just Bubbles after that Keeper of the Forest is able to go in. And Bubbles, like I said, they need to get a pick. And that's a great way to do it, to have a hero like Torture who can come in and set up a really nice stun and deal out all that burst damage very, very quickly.
Yeah. Well, first off, Cthulhu Font, by the way, speaking of target physical or individual damage, I mean, he picks up an Elder Parasite. So, again, we have seen this before on Bryce. That's why I'm not, like, crazy shocked by any means. So, this is what he does. And at a game like this where or 2 things. 1, it's a pretty close back-and-forth game going on now to 38 or 39 minutes. 2, he is a lot of their damage in these team fights, which is strange to say from a Cthulhu Font, but he is a lot of their sustainable damage, I should say. Obviously, up front, you got your Pebbles, your Wretched Hag even, but as the fights last, especially because of his items, he will be doing a good amount of that damage. But the other thing I wanted to talk about was the Sheepstick picks up, as you were mentioning, as we do see a Manitou, and there you go, another Sheepstick purchased on Torture. Yeah, and Aluna, as you're saying, wouldn't be surprised to see a 3rd Sheepstick even. I do wonder at least why one of those isn't a Hellflower, because I think you could argue having that amp damage. Now, I guess it's 2 cases. Maybe they feel that they're not bursty enough, so the Hellflower wouldn't be as powerful to take advantage of that increased the amp damage time frame. I can definitely understand that, but, man, having that Perplex, having that Silence, having the amp damage in the midst of everything is so useful as well. So, but a Sheepstick, Hellflower, having one or the other, great item nonetheless. The fact that they have two, maybe even a third on the way, is big here for the Hellborn.
Well, the Sheepstick also adds a little bit of strength. You get plus 10 strength that you're going to get from there, so it does add a little bit more to them having a little bit more HP and a little bit of agility as well, so a little EHP there. But it's not really like... It's not... I don't see much of a difference between the two, honestly, between the two teams. One thing I will say is that obviously the heroes that are picking them up, it's not like Pebbles picking up a Sheepstick or a Hellflower. Like, a Sheepstick would add 71 damage to each of these intelligence heroes because you get the plus 51 damage plus the 20 intelligence you're going to get from having a Hellflower.
Yeah. So
you are getting like a ton of damage also from the Hellflower, as well as the amplified damage, as you may have mentioned before, and the silence and perplex. So I guess it's just really about like, how do you want to catch somebody out? Like, obviously, when you're silenced, you're still able to auto attack,
and you're still able to move around.
Right, you're still able to move around. But when you're perplexed, or I'm sorry, when you're completely when you're transfigured, you're completely disarmed. Yeah. You can't do anything. You can't move anywhere.
Slowed drastically.
You're basically stunned for 2.5 seconds, and yeah. So again, I can see.
I can actually, you know what? That actually makes more sense. You know, we talk about Torturer, how powerful of a hero he is, but he does rely on people staying near him, and so having those Sheepsticks, that will keep them near him. At least that's the idea. So maybe that's ultimately what it comes down to. But, man, we talk about going into a passive farm game. This game has just been crazy action. I mean, we're still averaging a hero kill per minute, over a hero kill per minute, which is just absurd. But we have slowed down these last 5 or 6 minutes. There's been very little to no action, but understandable. Again, obviously the Hellborn team, we were guessing a Luna just waiting to finish a Sheepstick. Maybe they do have a token of life on Torturer with about 3 minutes left on it. So you got to wonder if that is going to look to be used here in the near future. Keeper of the Forest, though, he purchases a Soul's Bulwark, so he just continues to be massive, man. I mean, 400 gold per minute being farmed here on Keeper of the Forest, so I'm guessing that Demonic Breastplate even going to be finishing in the near future, and of course you got to love that item as this game progresses on. So very smart pickup definitely going to be had there. As far as anything else, I mean, nothing too crazy standing out, but again, yeah, the token of life timing is going to be the key here now for FYKU. As we saw the last 2 times they tried to push this top lane to finish off the racks, it's not as easy as maybe they were hoping for. And so they're maybe a little bit more hesitant now as a result of that. By the way, though, Wretched Hag, she does continue to be the top farm in the game at 464 gold per minute even. We do see a jump attempt, though. They are going to catch Plague Rider by Keeper of the Force right here. Is there going to be no follow-up? Yes, it looks like there is. A Song of the Sea comes out, and Plague Rider will fall. So a great pick right there. A Bound Eye also dropping on top of that. That is huge, as Glacius is going to pick it up. Now, Plague Rider can buy back, so the Hellborn team needs to be careful here not to really fall into a trap and get bought back on, and all of a sudden a Plague Goo comes out. But hell of a pick off there.
Yeah, I mean, I think what the Hellborn team here needs to do is they just need to play it very, very carefully. They need to send in, Torture up there and see exactly if they can force the buyback, or see if so he does buy back. So at this point, they really should probably just back off. Oop.
We see Pebbles jumping in, catches 2. Batplot's going to be back. Look at all the Shrug. It has the golden figures coming out here from both sides. Now Plague is bouncing around, but it looks like our Legion team is actually on top big time. Torturer will end up falling, but again, the token of life will bring him right back up. But is that what he wants right here? He's in a lot of trouble. Keeper of the Force in the background as well. He may end up dropping again, and there goes Torturer. Keeper of the Force doesn't have a Homecoming Stone. He does have a portal key, though. Is he going to be able to escape with it? It's a big question. He is dusted currently. They know that he's here. I believe they even saw him there at the last second. Zilstun is up here for N4. They're going to spot him with the Courier, and they're very likely going to clean him up right here. Hellflower's applied, and Keeper of the Forest will fall. Genocide coming out for Vitriolic. This game, man, this game is weird. I'll say that much. This game is just weird. I mean, that's now 3 times we have FYKU trying to push in. The big reason why I say that is because neither side has a whole lot of... They don't have a hard carrier. I mean, they don't have that hero where it's as this game goes on. I mean, they're just going to take over. But we do see right here the power of Nymphora as she ports Pebbles and Wretched Hag to take out a secondary tower now and maybe even push a little bit further.
Yeah, and that's one of the things you got to always watch out or keep at least your thought on is Nymphora is not just that early game, I'm going to TP Pebbles wherever he wants to go so that we can get kills. Later on in the game, that teleport is the most valuable skill that Nymphora has. And being able to win that team fight extremely quickly and then get on up to that second tier tower and take that out, that just kind of adds insult to injury. So, one of the things I've been kind of wondering about is why Aluna at this point, you can see that she got the Blessed Orb. We talked about whether or not she's going to be going for the Sheepstick. I mean, I think she will be, but I also think that there's something to be said for picking up something like a Storm Spirit, simply because we've seen so many times with teams like Fnatic where you Storm Spirit your carry up in the air and then allow them to land and pop the Shrunken Head basically immediately if they get initiated on. How effective could that be for a hero like Torture, where you really benefit from having Torture in the team fight for a very long period of time?
Yeah. I think a big part of the last fight, too, was that, we stressed so much on the kill and Plague why that was great, but a Keeper of the Forest root was used to get that kill. So they did not have a Keeper ultimate in that team fight, which is a 4-second lockdown, pretty much, of, ideally all the heroes, but if not, at the very least, a couple that we did see him kind of jump up in the beginning and use his Frostfield play almost as if to say, fight me, don't worry about my team, but Pebbles is like, I'm not going to fall for that crap. He just jumped in the background, started the fight, and we saw the end result. I mean, and that, honestly, I'm more and more scared for FYKU as this game advances on here, because we're just seeing the lack of damage output, and if they keep throwing themselves into those fights like that, it's just going to, and as we saw that last time, Nymphora will just counter push with that ultimate, and then slowly but surely start taking out the base. So, really, FYKU, they have to really play this very, very careful now. They cannot keep throwing themselves at that top lane. And, in fact, you look at the lead. This game, we've had, it seems like 4 or 5 different lead changes at least, which is actually quite a bit here for competitive heroes in New Earth. But we're back in favor of the Legion team. A 10,000 gold lead, 17,000 experience lead. So my guess is it's actually been that way for a little bit here. I just haven't been noticing it, but I guess you can say Vitriolic may even have the lead here, which sounds strange, but
well, it turned around after the first team fight at the top, where where they were unsuccessful, and after that, after that first genocide, they were able to basically come back in or I'm sorry, Keeper of the Forest did get away during that team fight, but after that, it was basically over. So Torture is trying to get into range to be able to get something on. Okay, no, not going to be lucky enough to land that stun, and that's why I was saying something like picking up a Portal Key would have been definitely able to help facilitate Portal Key in. And
I kind of feel like he could have shept him there. The sheep range is actually longer than
he
chain
does
reaction.
have Nullstone, so he would have to get into range to be able to cast the Agonizing Bonds first.
Totally,
basically.
yeah. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that obviously makes sense. So, unfortunate, man. That was close. They did get to use Circuit Heads, you put it, but that could have easily been a kill, and that would have been big, no doubt, in a game like this. But granted, you talked about this earlier. Oh, look at all the gold being pulled up yet again on our Legion side. 5,300 on Hack, 6,100 on Cthulhu. And Pebbles now has 2,200, but I believe he just bought something even. He does have a Soul's Bulwark here, so maybe it was that. But I like the patience of Vitriolic at the same time. Obviously, they haven't really been pounding their face against the wall here against FYKU, and it's been paying off. I mean, now they're playing a game of Wretched Ag. You go and push the lanes in a little bit, get some distraction going. The rest of us will protect our lanes and protect our base ultimately. And that's exactly what they're doing here. Wretched Ag again pushing the top lane. She's going to apply a lot of pressure to this tower, and with a double damage rune, she's going to get it, and the Hellborn team not even going to put any resistance. So all outer towers are destroyed, but look at the Hellborn team. They're looking to collapse right here. In fact, here we go. Bubbles up to the outfield. Keeper of the Force comes in. Where's the root? He did use the root on top of that. Now the Plague is bouncing around in the background. You see the Golden Elephant as Cthulhu tearing up Torture, actually. Torture doing whatever he can, but he falls shortly after. And Vitriolic once again going to win a fight. The damage output from our Hellborn team is really just non-existent, it seems like. Now, they do get the kill on Pebbles, so a good finish there in the end for Keeper of the Forest, but the damage already done. Bubbles ports away, as does Aluna. She gets out of there. But now we see Vitriolic.
Honestly, if I'm Pebbles at this point, I'm buying back and having Nymphora actually just get out of there. But, yeah, I was going to say, I would have bought back and had Nymphora TP me up with the rest of the team as well, just try to finish this off.
And you know what? This goes back to arguing. You could say, Bubbles, Torture even. I would think Bubbles more so, especially even Aluna. Get that right-click damage. Get a shield breaker. Get something. Get damage, because it's becoming more and more evident as this game goes on. They just don't have it. But we do see Kongor. It is going to be attempted now from Vitriolic. And actually,
I want to see steal.
Are we going to see a steal right here? It's going to be so close. Keep the Force and Bubbles are ready to go. It's
now.
about timing. There's the kill. Did they get it? No! No, they did not. Yes, they did. Bubbles got it. He's going to shell surf out. Can he port out? No, he cannot. Oh, he tablets out at the last second, and he will survive. Keeper of the Force, he tablets out as well, and Keeper of the Force going to get away. Are you kidding me? They ninja the token, and they stay alive. That never happens. He needs a portal key. Oh, no. Keeper of the Force, why did he need portal key? Did he? Oh, I guess the haunt may have prevented it, so he will let him dying, but still.
Played.
Hilarious right there.
I can't believe that Keeper didn't get out right there.
I thought he would.
I thought he was going to, but well, it's unfortunate. But in the meantime, this Legion team, they
have bananas too, by the way. Cthulhu caught them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, third Kongor kill.
Oh yeah.
I guess so. Yeah, I didn't even realize that.
Forgot about them nanners.
Not often we see that in competitive HoN nowadays. I mean,
yeah, it used to be like every day.
Exactly.
You know,
yeah.
it'd be Kongor is killed like when you hit level 5, and then you hit level 6 and you kill him again.
Yeah. Then the much needed changes happen.
Yeah.
So.
And by 15 minutes, there was like 3 Kongor kills already. So maybe not that drastic.
That
but
seems a little quick.
But there were many times when before 30 minutes they would have been on the third Kongor kill.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, much needed changes to Kongor. You know, making him stronger as we go throughout the game. So.
But token of life on Bubbles. So he will have that in this fight. Now 20 seconds resurrection on Keeper of the Force. He cannot buy back, and the Legion team going to take every advantage as they should. Down goes Torture right there. Bubbles trying to get away. But again, our Hellboy team doing absolutely nothing in terms of damage right here. They're just all playing very defensively as they kind of need to, but it just goes to show you just the power right now, how Vitriolic definitely has the advantage. Keeper of the Force is coming up in 5 seconds. They're going to do everything they can to perhaps hold this off. Torture is still dead. He cannot buy back. And Bubbles gets poor man Poto keyed in. As he, great Lunastone actually happened on top of that. There comes Keeper of the Force. There's the Frostfield plate, but where is the follow-up damage? Wretched Hag gets able to blink away, and she will be fine. There is a bound eye on the ground, actually, as Nymphora did get picked off. Bubbles is still chasing Hag, but Hag, it looks like, is going to survive in the end. So they do save not only the racks, but even the tower, actually.
We're back to square one.
You know what? See, I keep stressing and keep harping on no damage here on the Hellborn team. I mean, it's not like Vitriolic is this hard-hitting team themselves.
Right.
So.
Well, you know, Aluna has 4,000 gold saved up right now, so she could finish whatever item she's going to turn that Blessed Orb into, but still choosing not to do so. I mean, granted, I'm sure she wants to have the money for buyback in the event that she needs to buy back, but you know, if you've already tried to have these team fights, trying to break into the base, but wow, 9,000 gold on Wretched Hag. Okay, there's a there's Savage Mace,
and Savage Mace, and she still has 3,400 saved up.
Right.
So with 2 buybacks ready to go. Speaking of Savage Mace, so Slayer also picked up a bubble. So again, this goes back to what I was talking about earlier. Just they need right-click damage, man.
Probably Doombringer.
So probably going to be Doombringer. Let's be honest. He does have a token.
He's got a token,
so
why wouldn't you get Doombringer?
Yeah, probably not. Hellflower finished on Aluna though, so finally we are starting to see more damage now, more right-click damage that is coming out here from our for both sides, I guess. Obviously, Wretched Hag, as she got that Savage Mace, but that's Wretched Hag. You know, we have seen this before. You know, her a Pyromancer. I mean, they can hit pretty freaking hard. And they can become really that true intellect carry of just being a hard hitter, as we're seeing Dark Wonyx here for Vitriolic. So he's going to individually push his top lane, and it's no doubt Vitriolic has the big-time momentum of this game.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be difficult for FYKU Curdy to make something happen. It's definitely going to come down to perhaps a pick. We do see, speaking of picks, Nymphora's going to get caught out right here, and Nymphora may very likely fall. You see Kelp in the background. Nymphora goes down. The Plague once again going to come out. Torture doing everything that he can, and Plague will fall, but in comes Wretched Hag, and Wretched Hag is tearing up the Hellborn team with Cthulhu and Pebbles. You see Aluna trying to get away. Not going to happen. Bubbles ports out the last second, as he does have a portal key to user right there, as he does, but the damage was done, so they got the kill initially, but man, yeah, we see right there Torture making a point that Bryce makes Cthulhu a threat. This is definitely different, but again, it works. It definitely works, especially in this game.
One thing I want to note is that Hellflower was picked up on Luna. She actually sold the Blessed Orb.
Oh, very true,
to pick up that Hellflower.
Didn't even notice that. Oh, Bubbles gets caught here. Bubbles will fall, of course. Token will have to come back up, but will they be able to do anything again? Just the lack of damage showing. They cannot kill anybody here. It looks like Bubbles will be forced to port out. Keeper of the Force runs back, and finally we see some barracks going down. Look at Cthulhu, 4,300 life with that Behemoth Star and Sanitarius activated. That is just ridiculous. As yeah, he's definitely now a threat, as Torture was pointing out right there. So
no doubt. So they're going to go a little bit more initiation here at the top lane, as they're not necessarily 100% done with everything, but they're not going to be able to stop this melee barracks from going down. Cthulhu gets hexed, but not going to really do too much there. So the GG well played's come out, and FYKU going to fall here to Vitriolic Gaming. So Vitriolic succeeds here, but not with an easy game. Not with an easy game.
Not with an easy series. I mean, the whole series, that was just ridiculous. FYKU, man, like I said, really after that first game, this is going to be a team, no matter what happens the rest of the series, this is a new team that is on the scene. And that 3-0 record coming into this game was not a fluke. They really showed that here tonight. It definitely wasn't a fluke now. Unfortunately, they will drop to 3-1, but they are still up there with the big dogs here in Group C.
You know,
I would not be surprised to see them move on as a result. I mean, TT Esports, they've been struggling lately.
Yeah, and I was going to say, like, imagine what would have happened if FYKU were to have beaten Vitriolic here. Like, imagine, like, just the, you know, like, and if they would have lost TT Esports, we could have been looking like a three-way tie for first place by the end of the group stage. But here, Vitriolic continues to have overwhelming success, now moving up to 4-0 in their group. They are currently the top in the group, and honestly, after FYKU, and again, this is nothing to say anything bad about any of their teams participating, but they've definitely had the strongest schedule to play against her early on here, at least in this group stage, in DreamHoN Summer Championship. So with that being said, you know, they have a few more opponents left to play, but I would not be surprised to see Vitriolic win out through this bracket, and it's really going to be interesting. I really want to see what happens with FYKU in TT Esports, because that is going to be the game to watch here in Group C.
Which is next match. I was just confirming that is the next match, and